Yo, what is up, guys? Quasi D Games. Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, and today we are back with more Final Fantasy VII videos. This is on obviously the revealed Final Fantasy VII Revelations, boys. You already fucking know we're talking about that today. So there's a lot to talk about. There's a trailer analysis I want to do, and also this video, which is look at the interviews that came out last night in the Japanese magazines, and also some stuff that was from Max. So we're going to be doing that obviously in this video. I will also be doing a video on some Code Veronica stuff, because Code Veronica remake is a game I've been waiting for forever, and there's not much out right now. It seems like they're holding back because it's 2027, but I'm feeling it's early 2027 personally, but we'll talk about that in the next video. So we got 3 videos coming, boys. Hope y'all excited. Hope y'all enjoying this weekend. Hope y'all having a good time. Let's get into the interviews. So first, we're gonna look off Audrey's the page. If you know Audrey, she's Itaiki Mochi. That's what it is. I always get confused. Try to mess it up. I mess it up all the time. But anyways, yeah, Itaiki Mochi on Twitter has posted some interviews from, specifically, I think the magazine's called Den Feminico magazine. So this one will be from there, and the other one will be from Automation, and the other one will be from Max's stream. So yeah. So in this one, he talks about the affinity system from Rebirth and how it will be different from Revelation, since it doesn't focus on Cloud specifically and developing his relationship with everybody else throughout the game. It will be put on more characters and use it to depict them properly to each other. So I'm going to assume there's going to be more stuff like specific quests between Tifa and Sid, or Vincent and Sid, or Ketchi and Bear, something like that. I think that's what they're going for, instead of doing a specific Cloud thing. Like, I think Cloud will get some too, for sure, like usual, but I think that's what they're going for. And if Aerith comes back, like I'm assuming she'll come back throughout the game, somewhere in the game she'll also get stuff too, because people are speculating based on a picture of in the trailer where there is a extra slot under Ketchi, and I'm assuming that's going to Aerith or Zack, so we'll see who gets it, but that's what I think is gonna happen. So I think whenever either one of those two joins the party, or it could just be Blake's spot, but I think one of those two join the party. So they'll get their own affinity thing too with everybody else. It might not be everybody has a relationship with each other. They might just have it so that's like, oh, characters who have like special moves with each other get theirs, type of thing. And not every single character gets theirs, but yeah. So yeah. Next, we have a specific one that caters to me and other sickos specifically who love the compilation. Hamaguchi's asked if Midgar will be playable in Final Fantasy VII Revelations. Will we go back? And he had to say, it will be, and you may indeed encounter characters such as Nero and Weiss. My assumption the entire time was obviously we had to encounter them because of Yuffie's stuff with Sonon, and they made sure to emphasize it in Rebirth that Sonon's thing is important, that Sonon is not being thrown away, that Nero's stuff is not being thrown away. And this way, I think they're going to incorporate Dirge of Cerberus into the main story of this game, because I do really feel that maybe they'll remaster it, maybe they won't, but Nomura called it the culmination of the last 30 years of Final Fantasy VII, like I talked about in my video that I just made about the development of Final Fantasy VII Remake, that this is the culmination of the stories of the last 30 years of Final Fantasy VII. And my assumption is you can read it as just talking about the remake. He didn't specify 30, so you can read it as him saying, oh, he just means the remake story. But I think he meant the compilation too. It's just, and that is why this will happen. And I do really think that it will involve Deep Ground, Mako Reactor Zero, and Genesis 2. And I say Genesis specifically because this game is called Revelation, and I don't think they would use that. I mean, they could use it because of other things too, like Sephiroth is the end, Meteor is the end, or whatever, the apocalypse. But I do also think that Genesis is involved, specifically because his name is Genesis. So obviously that's not the only reason they'll be involved, but I do think this gives it more weight that will be a major thing. Deep Ground and Mako Reactor Zero and all the experiments they did and stuff like that. So I think that'll be an emphasized thing, especially because Sephiroth is the main character that they're putting on the cover of their part 1, part 2, part 3 thing, like Cloud and Aerith were for part 1 and part 2. So I do think that it's going to be a story centered around Sephiroth, not just with how he's involved with Cloud. It's going to be about him as a kid. Two other things, incorporate some of that stuff from Ever Crisis, from the first Soldier, and they're going to incorporate that. Going to incorporate his stuff from a teenager with Angeal and Genesis, and all those things. I think it's going to be all that culmination for Sephiroth's story. This is the Sephiroth game, in my opinion. I don't think that means no one else is getting anything, and that's going to not include the stuff from original, because we already saw original stuff in here. So, you know, I think it's going to, you know, do all that. It's going to be the Sephiroth game. Moving on to the automation interview, the first thing Hamaguchi says is that we are fully committed to delivering a proper conclusion and creating a game that firmly remains in people's memories as far as the Final Fantasy VII Remake series is concerned. This is the final chapter. So to me, that tells me that they might be open to doing more after it in terms of like spin-offs and stuff. But I think people are kind of like tired of F7. Not me personally. I'll take more as long as you give it to me. I think a lot of people are tired, so maybe they'll take a little break before they do like a Dirge remaster. Or maybe they'll just do a remaster of some old games that aren't remastered yet, or a remake before Crisis, something like that. And then be like, okay, now we're done. It's time for other properties to get something. A new Final Fantasy 17 is coming out. You guys are free. Yada yada. So we'll see if that's how it goes, but that's just speculation more than like anything he says on his part. So in the next question, he talks about the open world. He says that the open world will be different from Remake because the sense of scale is different with the Highwind. It will not be the same. So he mentions that from the start of the game that you will be able to fly the Highwind anywhere. So I assume he doesn't literally mean literally anywhere. Like, I'm going to assume like maybe there's going to be story closed off areas, and the start of the game will also probably not just have the Highwind right away. Like, I think we're going to go through some stuff with Zack and Aerith at the start, trying to get back to the gang, then Icicle Inn, and then Northern Crescent. Like, that's what I assume is going to be the first 3 chapters, and then you get to open world. But we'll see. I could be wrong with that assumption, but he does say that he wants people to explore as much as they can, all right, from the start. He specified that the weapons have changed the structure of the world. So each region will feature different things than what they did in Rebirth. It will not be the exact same. It is not reused. So you will be visiting old places with new things like visual identities, atmosphere, and stuff like that. It's really, really cool that that's what they're going for, because I was worried for a bit that it was just going to be straight up just, hey, you're going back to those places and they're going to be exactly the same. Which, you know, I shouldn't have thought, but it would be easier and quicker to get out. And now how fast it's coming out, I wasn't expecting much changes to the worlds we already visited in Rebirth. So it makes doing a replay of Rebirth on Switch 2 that I'm doing right now even better, because I will be seeing a new version of these in maybe less than a year, or in less than a year probably, because it comes out in spring. So I am excited to see that. I'm excited to see that, to see what he does. And he brings up the fact that chocobos are back, but instead of using a different chocobo like in Rebirth for every area, you are using specifically Pico, the one that you got from Chocobo Bill's family at the Chocobo farm. And Pico will level up. There aren't what's it called, breeding, I think is what he said in the Max Dude interview. There's no breeding chocobos, but Pico will level up, and Pico will be able to do things that all the other chocobos were able to do in Rebirth. The Fates system information, this is what I've been waiting for. It's just like I thought. Okay, so he says that one challenge Teruki, Endo, and Hamaguchi faced was expanding the battle system of Remake and Rebirth, and Endo went, jobs are one of them defining features of Final Fantasy. We should incorporate them. Thank you, dude. Thank you. Now, FF7 doesn't really have jobs, right? FF7 doesn't have jobs because the materia system is so customizable. And I was wondering this entire trilogy, how would it be possible to do a job system in this? Like, if they really want to do it, how would they do a job system? And they figured out a way, and I assume it's this Fits system that is, I assume, done by Chadley. But it's really cool that we get yet another 3D HD Final Fantasy with a job system after Strangers. It's cool that we get another another HD Final Fantasy in this generation. in this era that has a job system like system. And you could say 16 has one if you want, which is kind of true, I guess. And 15 kind of does, but 15 is not really, in my opinion, not what you think of when you think of job system. I'm saying with 16, but this is exactly what I was hoping for. This is exactly what I think it is, and it reminds me of Stranger Paradise, where Stranger Paradise had a real full job system that changed your outfit and stuff like that, and this seems to be going a similar way. Obviously, it will not remove the ability to use materials, and they said there's specifically 4 fits for each character, so it's very limited in comparison to Stranger Paradise, but it's going to add a lot to the combat system. And my hope is that the combat system does not have so much going on that it feels like there's too many options, which is always a worry about a system like Materia and this, of course, obviously. But I'm hoping that this will keep it so that even the hard challenges will remain hard or challenging. And speaking of challenging, I'm really hoping in the next interview, the next whatever we get, that he specifies that hard mode is available from the start and that it's not exactly like hard mode in other games. Because I hope there's a hard mode with items and hard mode without items, but we'll see. And maybe he'll just bring dynamic mode back, but we'll see later if he does more interviews sooner than later. So they specify that as soon as you get the fit systems, everyone gets it. There's no reward for going through the story to get a new fit. So I do wonder what they plan to do instead, other than like cutscenes, obviously, right? So I do wonder how that will go into it. He specifies real quick that the hardware specifications for the Switch 2 are not hindering the possibility of the Switch of the PS5 and PC, because they develop assets in a way that it works on low-end hardware and high-end hardware. And I assume this too myself, because I told people over the years that as soon as they would announce it for Switch 2, or I guess last year, right? The last year, not years. But as soon as they announced it for Switch 2, she was like, okay, so this will mean the PS5 and PC version will be good. This is only a good thing. This is not going to hurt 7 Rebirth, have 7 Revelations or 7 Part 3. And I was correct, because if you look at the Switch 2 screenshots versus the PC and PS5 screenshots, it looks almost as good. And I am going to assume that this game will look good while running at 60 FPS compared to Rebirth, which had really big issues in performance mode. I don't think that will be the case here. I really sincerely do not think that will be the case here. Back to the fit system really quick. I don't know where this interview came from, but probably a different website. They say that they're going to have character outfits that do not affect stats, so you will have different outfits that are unrelated to the job system. So they are going to have probably, I assume, a lot of outfits in this game, and that really does make me think that we're finally getting the Advent Children outfit as a thing you can wear in this game. I do wonder where you'll get it from. In that case, maybe from a side quest or something, but we'll see. But this has me excited. Also, they specified that the outfits for the skins and the fits job system all went through Tetsuya Nomura, and his idea for it was not how would a warrior look, how would a cloud warrior look. So that really has me excited. It's really cool that that's what we're going for, and that he's the one to decide this. Because people want to say that he's not involved with the game anymore because he's creative director, but he's still very much involved, and it makes me happy. Now, one thing that people have been wondering for years is how will the weapon battles work? People have been wondering since 2017, since the game was announced in 2015. People have been wondering this for 10 years, and now we finally know. When we started designing the weapon battles, there was one thing I told the team very clearly: weapons are enormous. So if you simply introduce them into the normal battle system, all you can see is their feet. I can't talk. Without some integrity, the standard combat system will not work. So it seems that we're going to be doing a kind of gimmicky stuff for each fight. However, he wants to specify that it is a natural extension of the regular combat system. So you will not be losing your stuff that you did up to that point, and you can also, I think, do the fights without the mini games or mechanics, so you can just fight them straight up, like at their feet or whatever, which is something that I was hoping for, because I was like, if I want to see the scale, like I do want to use the new gimmicks because I think they'll be fun for the first playthrough. And if they make it so like, oh, your second playthrough, if you want to do that playthrough, you can just go hack away at the guy on New Game Plus Easy or whatever if you want to, and just chip away at it, which is really, really nice. So thank you for considering both options, guys. Thank you so much. That's something I was really wondering. And it seems like they're really, really understanding me specifically. So he talks about the ability to alter courses in the story. He specifies that the ending will be the same for everyone, but that your choices will change certain things. So I'm assuming it's like 13 to Lightning Returns and Final Fantasy 10 to, which makes sense to me that they would bring that aspect back from their old games, because I've been feeling for a long time that the Final Fantasy Remakes trilogy is the culmination of this specific studio's work since 1997. So we're including Final Fantasy 7, Final Fantasy 10, Final Fantasy 8, the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy, some of the mobile games they made, like Mobius. Like, I've always felt like that's what these games are. This is their culmination of their work for the past 30 years almost. And I know people don't want to hear that because they hate certain games, but this team really does know how to keep reusing ideas and refining them. And that, alongside keeping team retention in the modern game development era, is crazy. Like, these guys know what they're talking about. They know what they're doing. And I'm really excited to see what these choices do and what they change and how they create fate-altering things. And like I said, the ending will be the same for everyone, but you will have different things happen depending on your choices. So that'll be really cool for multiple playthroughs. This incentivizes multiple playthroughs. It's really awesome. He doesn't specify exactly how things will change or what will change, and he wants to keep it under wraps for now. I assume probably like when the next interview happens, or maybe when we get a release date in, I'm going to assume September for the Tokyo Game Show State of Play or Nintendo Direct. Will know exactly what he means, so that'll be cool. I should, before we go on, I should save it for the end. Save that for the end. So he specifies that they will make it clear what side quests and minigames will give you rewards, and what those rewards were from materia, items, or character skins. So I do like that. I'm only hoping that they cut back on the things on your mini map, so not cluttered, since that's one thing I have an issue with a lot of modern games, is the cluttering of the mini map. I much prefer something like Ghost of Yote, which does have stuff on the mini map, on the big map. Don't get me wrong, it does. It clearly does, but it does not consume your entire map, and most of your map is just location name, stuff like that, and you use the wind to travel to it and not like a marker or whatever. I really do prefer that Ghost of Yote does like that, and I wish this Rebirth had taken more from that than it did from like Horizon, which is clearly Hamaguchi's influence, The Witcher and Horizon. And I assume those will still be his major influences in terms of like map designing, but we'll see. They do specify about minigames and how they address that. They said that they haven't reduced the amount of minigames, but they made it so that you can either play them, make them easier, or just skip them entirely. And I can't tell if he means that for the story, how you can skip them, or I don't know. But there's going to be rewards like customization options and character skins, and it doesn't seem like he's giving out materia anymore. And it seems like stuff like materia is gotten from combat side quests and not minigame stuff like in Rebirth and Remakes. So it seems like he's trying to put an emphasis on splitting up what you get. So I really do think that's interesting. So it seems like every location has their own level of difficulty, and that you can explore those levels or areas as soon as you get the high one if you want to. Some will be closed off because of story related stuff, but you can go where you want and deal with whatever you want, similar to Breath of the Wild is what it reminds me of, and that's what I do like. Or also, like I said, Ghost of Yote is another game where you can go anywhere you want. Some places will be harder than others, but you can go wherever you want. In my playthrough, I went to a harder area first. I beat it, then went to the easy area, and the easy area was kind of like chump change in comparison. So yeah, I do like that they do stuff like that in these open world games. It really gives you a feeling of choice, and I really do like that sense of choice that the game seems like it's going to give you. I just hope it doesn't feel like it ruins the experience of Final Fantasy VII. So we'll see. We'll see. I have faith. I have faith. Hamaguchi specifies that if you visited a place, you could just fast travel to it. You don't have to use the high wind and parachute every single time. Me personally, I'm probably going to use the high wind and parachute every single time just because I like the idea of them jumping out of a battle bus. And I was talking to my friend yesterday, saying he hopes you could name the high wind a different name, like in Kingdom Hearts, because it would be funny if you could name it the battle bus, which is very a good idea to me. That if you can name the high wind like Kingdom Hearts, so we'll see. I doubt it, but we'll see. And last but not least, he mentions that the development for the game is still ongoing. Obviously, they're going to keep refining it until it's ready to go. And I assume it'll be gold in like January or February. It'll go on gold in January or February, which will be very exciting. And that he's excited to finally finish this. It's been hectic, but incredibly loving experience to do, and this is more of a passion project, I feel, than even remake 1 and 2. And he wants to get to as many players as possible, and I assume this is just the culmination of everything that they've been working towards at Square Enix since Kiryu took over, and the culmination of Crazy Studio 1 and all that stuff. And it feels awesome. This feels awesome, and I'm so excited to see what they can do and what they bring to the table for the end of Final Fantasy VII, maybe. I say maybe because I don't know what they're going to do after this, and no one really does, and they can do more if they want to. But I feel like this is going to be a closing statement on Final Fantasy VII and the last 30 years of it. So I'm very excited. I'm so excited, man. I'm so excited. And last thing I wanted to say that I brought up earlier is that apparently during the Max stream, he says that it will not be too long before you see the game again. Now, my assumption is it has to be at one of the other shows that are this month. It doesn't have to be. It could be like Gamescom or something like that, or in September at the Tokyo Game Show, like I said. But I do think that we're going to see it again much sooner than that. I think we're probably going to see it at Xbox or Nintendo Direct. I could definitely see Nintendo Direct because they want that Japanese audience who loves Nintendo to be on that shit. So if there's a Nintendo Direct soon, I think it'll be there. Xbox too, but we'll see. Hope you guys have a great day, and peace for Wizarding Games, everybody.